Hello and welcome to Azure Track's Microsoft Cloud Series. I'm Andrew Lowe's, and with me today I have the wonderfully intelligent Ryan McKay. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great, Andrew. How are you today?
I am amazing. So, this past couple of weeks, we've been really amazed at how involved everyone has been with the podcast and kind of coming back at a proper, regular cadence. And we just really appreciate all the feedback and everything that everybody brings to the community that is Azure and also the Azure Tracks and MSCQF podcast. We really love producing this for you guys. So,
Absolutely.
this week, no secret, it's Ignite November 2021. And holy bananas, what a
Oh,
bunch of updates there's been.
wow.
Some big ones. I think my most favorite experience so far is I was really lucky and I was doing some presentation of a hands on labs event. And about 2 hours into doing the labs, I click through as we're demoing part of it, and there was a little bit of a name change with Azure Security Center, rendering a number of my students slightly confused because the instructions were now completely different than what we see on the screen. So
And a number of cloud admins that have new terminology to learn for Microsoft exams and to speak to clients.
yes, no, yes, and our favorite, of course, word of the week, metaverse.
Metaverse.
It's the metaverse. It's a database, folks. Don't be thrown off. It's not a whole new universe, no matter what anybody says.
Yeah, that's the cool word. That's pivot for 2021, apparently.
It is, right? Yes, I just think, I just keep hearing pivot tables. But there's been a ton of new product announcements. Yeah, enough about Excel spreadsheets. So there's been a lot of new kind of a bit of renaming, rebranding, but a little bit of breaking things down too. So there's been not surprises. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know how the breakdown was going to follow. So we'll talk about that. So we also have a couple of other kind of really cool updates when it comes to the security side and the crossover that we always focus on here, which is Microsoft Cloud, kind of the crossover between Azure and M365 and all things Microsoft Cloud. So I think we'll roll it, and we'll when we come back, let's talk about a couple of these updates.
Sounds good.
Welcome back.
Hey.
So we were saying, we were a little bit excited about some of these updates that came through, and we kind of each picked one or two, and as usual, we kind of step all over each other's choices because we're thinking about the same stuff. So we've landed on kind of three updates we're going to chat about. So maybe if you want to talk about yours first, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll talk about the one together.
Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. And I wanted to first and foremost make reference to the Ignite Book of News, which was released post Ignite. Every Ignite Microsoft has a book of news. It's the single source of information for all things that are spoken about at Microsoft Ignite. Absolutely great reference, because there is tons and tons of announcements. So we're working through that and reading it. Lots of exciting things, but I wanted to hone in on a couple things in particular that are very topical. First and foremost, the announcement of Microsoft Teams Connect and the Teams Microsoft Mesh. The Teams Connect is a long overdue feature, and I'll just explain it simply: is it's seamless collaboration between people through Microsoft Teams without actually having to do like a tenant context switch, and it's leveraging some of the awesome capabilities of Azure Active Directory And this is just going to be an absolute game changer in how organizations are able to collaborate with other individuals in other organizations. My biggest complaint about Microsoft Teams uh, to date has been the fact that if I'm invited as a guest in another tenant, I have to switch context to another tenant, such as Andrew's tenant when we're collaborating on the podcast or on other activities, or if I'm working for a client and they are collaborating with another third party, you kind of find yourself in sort of Teams inception, if you will. This particular capability is an absolute game changer and is going to make the collaborative capabilities of Microsoft Teams so much seamless, so much user friendly, and so much easier to use in general. Now, with that, of course, we're tagging into Microsoft Mesh, the metaverse, the avatar thing. That's kind of a close second in Teams. There's some stuff in there that's really cool. But then I really wanted to kind of bridge that, bridge it between the M365 stack and the Azure stack. And this is another major announcement. And the Microsoft Defender for Business is just an absolute game changer for SMBs. So it's targeted towards the small and medium business market, the less than 300 organizations that may not have the budget or the desire to have full-time security staff, consultants like Andrew and myself doing the security work. This particular offering is an absolutely massive offering that is going to change the game for small and medium businesses and their ability to provide cloud security, cybersecurity for their organizations within that stack.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's about enterprise security, right?
Exactly.
So it's interesting. I was actually chatting with a client this morning that we're putting in a bit of a trial to go head to head, and it's kind of interesting for me, but it's a real problem that businesses have. So they come to me and they'll and yourself as well, they'll say, guys, we've got Defender already on Windows 10, and of course inside I kind of clench up a little bit and I get some chest pain, but it's not manageable. It's not an enterprise solution. We can't push automation through it. It doesn't integrate. It's not an enterprise solution. So there's a lot of factors there, and this is meeting it halfway. And I'm really pleased to see this SKU announcement, to be honest. I was a little bit concerned, a few weeks ago, we heard grumblings in the security world about, oh yeah, we're going to be breaking some SKUs apart. We're going to have a new plan for Defender, and we're going to branch it apart. And I thought, oh boy, this could get interesting.
And in fact, what Microsoft has done is they've actually, as far as I'm concerned, I'm 100% happy with what they've done. It's a standalone SKU that can be added, but it's going to be included in Business Premium, which is the top tier subscription for the small and medium business SKUs within the M365 licensing.
Exactly. And we think of kind of 200 employees as kind of the benchmark for that, give or take, when it's the tipping point. I think 300 is the maximum, if I'm remembering that right. But 200 is kind of where we start to talk like, okay, so your company is really growing, things are doing really well. And now you're at the point you've got 200 endpoints or more. You've got a bunch of servers, you've got all this infrastructure happening. Now it's time to start thinking like an enterprise versus thinking like a small business. This can really help us bridge the gap in a lot of cases, and it's going to provide way better endpoint protection for small business that isn't ready to jump to the E-Series SKUs. And I'm really thrilled about it. This is a big deal.
Absolutely. It's an absolute game changer. I think it's opening up a huge avenue for revenue, whether that be for Microsoft, whether it be for security consultants such as ourselves. And more importantly, it's going to protect businesses and help them to become cybersecurity aware, but without that high-end security department locally within their organization. So absolutely a massive game changer. And Andrew, did you have anything sort of on the Azure side specifically you wanted to speak about?
A little bit, right? So I've been chomping at the bit about this one all day.
Yeah.
And Azure Arc announcements, right? So new features, deep integration into Azure Stack HCI. Doesn't sound like that's going to have a big kind of an audience, but you might be surprised. There is
Mhm.
thousands of HCI clients out there, and it's a big deal. Now, the other one that I'm super excited about, and I think this speaks to a lot of both of our previous experience, enhanced integrations, deep integrations with
Yes.
hybrid cloud, including
Yes.
VMware vSphere. Hello,
Absolutely. Hello.
finally. I'm
Yeah,
so
that's
excited about this one. It's going to really make deployment a lot easier, because one of the reasons in my world that I utilize Azure Arc is to enable deployment of Azure Defender, Azure Defender for SQL, and really onboarding clients' devices into the management environment, into that ecosystem, right?
yeah.
So it's kind of the partner with Azure Lighthouse, where we're able to inject ourselves into their tenant. We're able to use our own credentials, least privilege,
Hmm.
able to do PIM escalations or privileged identity management, Azure PIM escalations, so that we're always not an administrator. And we only have to bring out the big hammer of global admin when we actually need to use it. So
Yeah.
all of these solutions really working together. This advancement for Azure Arc is huge in my world, because it really is going to expand what we're able to do for you, the end customer. And the integration between kind of the small, medium, and even larger businesses to MSPs to be able to have somebody tag in with security expertise on demand for
Hmm.
incident management. This is a massive improvement, and it means that we're now able to jump in on vSphere environments. So this is a really big advancement. And sorry, I get really excited about
Well,
this
that's
stuff.
good. I consider it too. I consider it to be a mic drop moment, right? An
It totally
absolute mic
is.
drop moment for this particular product. I can tell you're excited. That's for sure. I'm equally as excited. And that kind of leads me to kind of the next thing. And this is kind of a quick fix, Andrew. But I think this entire conversation deserves a larger medium. So I'm going to propose to you, if you're available, and I think I already know this answer, but I'm going to propose to you that next week we do a much longer session and deep dive in. This is a quick fix, but I think this warrants a much larger session if you're interested.
I love that idea. Let's flip it even further. Let's get back to our roots for our partnership with Azure Tracks and MSCQF. Let's do a live event.
Hawaiian shirts optional.
All I heard was shirts optional. So,
Hawaiian. There will be
oh, Hawaiian
shirts.
shirts. Oh, okay.
There will be shirts. It's not that kind of live event.
Oh,
Absolutely.
like that. All right. Yeah, all of a sudden, we'll have to check the box on YouTube now, I guess, but
Yeah.
that's okay. No, we're rated G all the way around here. We try really hard to make sure of that. So, yeah, let's get that set up. So we'll make a few announcements through our social media, which, what a heck of a transition that is, right? So, Mr. McKay, where can we find you in our metaverse?
Absolutely, and good reference for the word of 2021. I can be found on YouTube, LinkedIn, and SoundCloud. Microsoft Cloud Quick Fix. I can be found online. The blog is www.mscqf.com, and the Twitter is @MSCQF. Again, check the social medias for some updates for next week's event. And Andrew, where can we find you?
Awesome. And by the way, I love following your social media. You post these great little tidbits of knowledge that make it easy for me to kind of soak up bigger ideas. I appreciate that. I just
Oh,
wanted to
well,
float that one for all of our viewers and listeners. You can find my stuff at www.azuretracks.com and on all of the social media things with @AzureTracks. I tend to post kind of some longer articles, and I think this weekend again is my cool automated update on kind of all of the happenings for Azure and Sentinel and Azure Blog and Azure Updates, it's probably going to be pretty big. So I'll give it a once over before it goes out through the system. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We really absolutely love having you with us. Don't forget, like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Let us know what you're thinking. If you want to hear a special topic talked about, you want to hear a bit of a deep dive, we're always willing to have a chat with all of our listeners and followers. And thank you so much again. Thank you, Ryan McKay, for joining me. Really appreciate that. And we'll see everybody again next week.
Take care.